The best thing about Estonia is that nobody bothers you. Everyone leaves you be. You can be whoever you want. You can do whatever you want. Nobody cares. The worst thing about Estonia is that even when you need people, when you need someone to help you, nobody really cares. Nobody bothers. Nobody gives a shit. Hello everybody, my name is Manan. I have lived in Estonia for more than 11 years. I've studied here, I've worked here, I built a business here. And in this video, I want to share the best things and the worst things about life in Estonia. According to me, this is just my perspective. Your perspective might differ, others' perspective might differ, but this here is the list that I would make. So, number one best thing about Estonia, and that is safety and peace. So, Estonia is one of the safest countries I've ever lived in Europe. I mean, there's violent crime is almost unheard of, and even small thefts are very, very rare. In 2024, there were surveys that showed that people here actually feel safer now than they did before. There is a personal sense of security actually rose from 65% to 69% between March and June of 2024. And you see that actually in everyday life. I mean, I've talked about this before, but in Estonia, it is very common to see young children going to school by themselves. I personally know many expats who left Estonia, but then they moved back for this very reason, specifically because they felt that the security and safety that they are used to in Estonia, they cannot expect anywhere else in Europe. But to just put it in perspective, I mean, in terms of safety and security, Estonia is definitely not the safest country I have ever visited. The safest country that I've ever visited by far has been UAE. As somebody who comes from a developing country where law and order is a problem, this is definitely one of the most welcoming and heartening things to see in Estonia, is especially the peace and quiet and safety that you witness here. Definitely one of the best parts for me. Okay, moving on to the worst part, and that is the cost of living. The thing is that Estonia is not cheap anymore. I mean, there was a time when it was cheap back in 2014 when I first came. It was a very, very short time. I mean, the rent and food were okay at the time, but in the last 5-6 years, I mean, even before COVID, prices have exploded. Estonia has become one of the most expensive countries in Europe when you compare it to the income level. During COVID and right after, Estonia had some of the highest inflation in Europe. In January 2023, it peaked at around 19% year on year. That's like insane for a Eurozone country. Electricity, groceries, I mean, everything jumped, and this shock is still felt today. I mean, Estonian electricity prices and utility prices were some of the highest in the region, more expensive than Finland, for example. Even in August 2025, inflation is still at about 6.1%, which is the highest in the Eurozone at that time. Food prices alone have risen more than 9%. The situation has gotten so bad that there was a petition to lower VAT from 24%, which is one of the highest in the Eurozone, to 10% on food items. The petition got over 98,000 people to sign it. For context, 98,000 votes to a party can actually get you in the Estonian parliament. That's how much big of a deal that is. 24% VAT on food items. It's just mind-blowing for me that you are paying the same VAT for a slice for bread as compared to the same for maybe a luxury watch or a laptop. It's even Finland and many other countries have lower VAT percentages for food items. That's just absurd for me. It doesn't make much sense. The same article that mentioned about the security of Estonia also mentions that more than 85% of people are worried about the financial situation in Estonia, and 83%, that's quite a sizable, 83% worried about their living expenses. Salaries haven't kept up with inflation. I mean, if you are in IT, as I've already said before, and you are earning 3 times or 4 times the average salary in Estonia, you are completely fine. But majority of the people are not like that. I mean, the situation has gotten so bad that I am hearing from people that people from Estonia are actually going to Finland to buy groceries. 10 years ago, if you told anybody that would have been the biggest joke that anybody could hear. Okay, moving on. Best number 2, and that is the lack of crowds and the lack of traffic. Now, Estonia has only 1.3 million people, and Estonia is tiny, and that scale changes things a lot. I mean, mean, even in Tallinn, rush hour is like about 20 minutes. There was a study once that ranked Estonia as the second least congested country in Europe. On average, people here spend only 18 hours a year in traffic. I mean, compare that to London or Los Angeles, where it is like hundreds of hours annually. And the size of the country means that you can cross it in about 3 hours. I mean, Tallinn to Tartu is 2 hours. Tallinn to Narva is about 2.5. I mean, weekend trips don't really require much planning. You can just wake up and go. And the best part is that majority of your time will be spent actually driving and viewing the scenery going by, not in traffic jams. I mean, it kind of sounds simple. I mean, this lack of chaotic traffic jams and all that, but trust me, day after day, it really matters a lot to the quality of life. I have traveled across the world, but the worst traffic that I actually saw was in Canada. And it's amazing for me to see that people in Canada, especially in the Ontario province, they spend annually 200 hours in traffic jams. Compare that to 18 hours, for example, in Estonia. I know the scales don't make sense. It's not an apples to apples comparison, but just as something for the common person and for the end user, you are spending much less time in crowds, in queues, in lines, in traffic. That is the best part. Okay, worst part number 2, and that is the weather. I mean, I've talked about it so many times before, but this is the part that breaks almost everybody. I mean, winters are long and gray and dark, and in December especially, you sometimes get only 6 hours of daylight. And it's not just about winters, it's about summers too, and other seasons as well. Majority of the year, the sky is overcast, and that really messes you up. It's not just uncomfortable, but it really affects your mental health. There was a survey in 2022 that found that 28% of Estonians are at a risk of depression and 20% are a risk of anxiety. I mean, seasonal depression is actually real. And the thing about it is that even Estonians who have been here for generations, they struggle with it as well, because this is something that is not normal. I mean, living without sun, humans are not built like that. No matter how much time you spend there, it's not something that you can ever get used to. I mean, you can of course take vitamin D pills, you can do light therapy lamps, but eventually you do have to go out. And in January and in February, like in the worst parts of winter and darkness, you will see scores of Estonians just taking trips to South Asia, Southeast Asia, just to get that dose of sunlight and get out of this darkness. I mean, it is probably the worst part of life in Estonia. And that part, I mean, you can not fix it no matter what you do. The only thing you can do is to go out. Okay, the next best part, and that is the digital services. Estonia's most well-known quality is that almost everything is online. Estonia has a very mature digital infrastructure for government services, whether it is medical records or taxes or registrations. I mean, almost everything you can do online. I mean, traditionally, Estonia is cited as among the best in e-government globally. I mean, Estonia even allows internet voting. In the last national elections, 51% of votes were cast digitally. That's more than the ones that were cast on paper. And while there are issues with e-voting, this example just goes to show that digital penetration and security of government services is actually quite well functioning in Estonia. I mean, to be fair, I think that Estonian marketing has oversold this idea of a digital utopia where you can do almost everything online. Maybe it was the case maybe 7 or 8 years ago, but now a lot of countries have caught up. I mean, Estonia is not the only country with the best e-government services, and I think that Estonia really needs to keep up if it wants to stay on top. I believe that the biggest advantage, what isn't really talked about, is the mindset shift that has happened. The mindset that anything that can be done online should be done online, and that bureaucracy can be streamlined. And even if Estonia falls behind in the digital landscape, the mindset is there. The mindset has fundamentally shifted. And I think this mindset shift is the best parts about life here in Estonia, that electronic services, that convenience, that lack of paperwork and bureaucracy is considered normal and default. Okay, final worst part, and I think that is the bigger one: racism and discrimination. I mean, this is a little bit sensitive one, but it absolutely needs to be said. I mean, Estonia is definitely peaceful and safe, but that doesn't mean everyone feels included. In 2024, reports from the Equality Ombudsman showed that what many foreigners already know, that racism is a problem. It's considered like a hidden problem. I mean, you don't see like open violence happening against other races, but underlying racism, which I call passive racism, is rampant here in Estonia. I mean, stares, comments about your skin color, jokes about your accent, offensive gestures, and repeatedly being told to go home or go to Africa. Again and again and again. This report is even eye-opening for me, who have known about these things for a very long time. One of the most striking incidents for me was about a black person in Tartu who was talking to a bunch of Estonians, and they keep talking back to him in English. And he requested to them, the black guy talking in Estonian, that please talk to me in Estonian. And they point blank told him that only Estonians can speak Estonian. The Equality Commissioner himself in this report said that many locals don't even recognize these behaviors as racism. I mean, they're just dismissed as like isolated incidents rather than a systemic problem. And you know, the hardest part about that is, the hardest part that I have actually personally felt, is that if this kind of stuff happens in public in any other part of the world, no matter wherever you go, somebody around you will stand up. Somebody will say something to the person. In Estonia, I have felt that there is this strong culture of minding your own business that is so that is so ingrained that even when it comes to helping somebody in public who actually needs it, who actually would like some words of support, that never happens. And I think that is a really sad part. So yeah, it's the silence of that really gets you. I've personally experienced that myself as well. And the silence in these moments is just very, very bad. I will be talking more about this report and the ramifications of that in my future videos as well. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something from the thoughts that I have shared. So yeah, this is it. These are the best and the worst aspects of life here in Estonia. And if you want to know more about Estonia on a different level, then I have made a very good video about the weird and amazing Christmas traditions that are coming from ancient times in Estonia. You can have a look at it here. Thank you for watching again, and I will see you in the next one.